Welcome into Minnesota Vikings Now. If you want the Vikings to win at least one playoff game, show us you do by subscribing right now. The data backs it up. We've had the most subs ever on the channel. Vikings having their most wins ever since the channel began, and most wins 2017. Let's keep the good vibes going. Hit that subscribe button for us right now. You get free Vikings videos as well once you do so. You're watching Minnesota Vikings Now. I am Tom Downey. Here's what's coming up on today's show. The Andrew Whitworth signing, maybe idea is the better term there. Some key Vikings injury news entering the Week 18 finale of the season, and a Vikings vs. Bears preview as part of that on today's show. But we're going to begin with some injury notes and how that ties into the Andrew Whitworth situation. Unfortunately, Brian O'Neill is out for the year with a partially torn Achilles. A brutal loss. He's been one of the best Vikings offensive linemen for several years now. So Ali Udoh is now in line to start at right tackle. Vikings saying, hey, maybe Blake Brandel's back, but we'll see. Udoh's actually got it out pretty well, relatively speaking, this year, although I worry about Ed Ingram and a new right tackle and a new center, which, oh boy, that right side of the line, mid to right, is very troubling there. Udoh he's a backup, right? That's what he is. You could probably survive with him, but you're kind of already trying to survive at other spots along the offensive line, which, tends to make things a little bit complicated. Now, Tyler Forness had this to say on adding Andrew Whitworth. In a similar veins, when we discussed Odell Beckham Jr. joining the Vikings before Thanksgiving, Whitworth played for head coach Kevin O'Connell when he was the OC for the Rams in 2020, 2021, was tremendous in both seasons. Teams have made calls to Whitworth, but as he said in the preseason to the Cowboys, left tackle Tyron Smith got hurt. They need to convince his family, not him. Now, a lot of that stuff is true, right? A long-time NFL successful offensive lineman, was with Kevin O'Connell last year, played 16 seasons in the NFL, and there's nothing wrong with calling Andrew Whitworth. I do think you're setting yourself up for some unrealistic expectations and hopes thinking he's going to come back. If you've seen Whit on some of the TV broadcasts this year, he looks great. He's in awesome shape, and that's the reason why it's probably not going to happen. Because he's in great person shape, and that normal person shape is not offensive tackle football player shape. If he was going to go anywhere, I think it would have been the Bengals when La'el Collins got hurt going back to Cincinnati. You can call if you want. I think the Cowboys' interest was totally overblown, and just kind of Whitworth clarified he hadn't heard from them, so I don't know if teams have actually called, but reach out, right? He's a potential option for you. I'm not going to get my hopes up, though, in the end. Now, if he were available, let's do it. You get a starting Hall of Fame offensive tackle on your roster, right? So what do you think? Do you want to sign Andrew Whitworth? Type in Y for yes or N for no. It's the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad break comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, Y or N. Next up, some more Vikings injury news, particularly as things get set up for the Week 18 matchup against the Chicago Bears. This is the Vikings injury report. Garrett Bradbury did not participate with a back issue. Of course, Austin Schlottman's banged up, and that would have to be maybe Chris Reed, and that's, I don't love that. James Lynch battling a shoulder injury, okay. Normally, if you're limited on Wednesday, you'll be able to go. Now, it's Week 18. We'll get to the playoff picture stuff here in a little bit, so they'll be cautious. Brian Asamoah, limited with a knee. Josh Patelis, thigh. Bradbury's the one to monitor, and, man, you're praying that's when you get him back for the playoff push, which I think Minnesota thought deep down he'd be back by now because he's been limited at points, been able to practice a little bit, and he just can't quite go all the way. The Bears, meanwhile, Jaquan Brisker, personal issue, missed practice on Wednesday, should be fine. Ja'Tyre Carter, who's a backup tackle, was a full participant with a back. Justin Fields already ruled out. It's Nathan Peterman. Yeah, he's still in the NFL against the Vikings in Week 18. Jalen Jones, concussion. I doubt he will be able to go. Dante Pettis should be fine. The long snapper, Patrick Scales, a neck issue, limited participant there. In theory, would be fine. Limited on Wednesday. Again, normally means you go. Trevon Wesco back up. The Bears are a bit banged up. They're down the engine of their offense in Justin Fields. It's easy to understand why you might see the Vikings try to treat this a little bit like the preseason. They are still alive for the number 2 seed. They need some help. It's probably going to be a 3-seed matchup, which would likely pit them against the Giants. Now, O'Connell's going to play the starters. I think what you do is, well, you'd like to keep an eye on the Niners-Cardinals game, but you can't, timing-wise. So you'll probably be like, you know what? We'll play our starters. If you get up, you pull them a bit quicker, and your overall game plan is vanilla. You're not showing anything too much beyond maybe some deceptive stuff because, the Giants will have their advanced studies going on and whatnot, or whoever you end up playing. So you'll be vanilla in the end from that standpoint. But what do you guys think? Do you still want to play the starters, or you just bench everybody early because you're probably not going to get the 2-seed? Although if the Niners lose, you'd be kicking yourself, wouldn't you? So what do you want to do with the starters? P for play, S for sit. You can bet on this game and all of the NFL playoff matches with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code CHAT125. 125% deposit bonus. That's chatsports.com/bet. Promo code CHAT125. The Vikings are 7.5-point favorites. That seems a little low, and I think it's kind of cooked into we're up by 2 scores, fourth quarter. Sit everybody of note. Bears could keep trying, or maybe third quarter do that too, and you get a little backdoor. The backdoor cover, I think, is already built in to that spread. That's why it's 7.5. Over-under's a low one. A lot of low over-unders this week. And put the Vikings in a parlay. Boost your odds, right? Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code CHAT125. 125% deposit bonus when you put down at least $100. Some more preview now of this game. The Vikings are 10th in offensive yards per game, 7th in passing yards, 28th in rushing yards, 8th in points per game. The Chicago Bears defense is bad. 26th in yards per game, 13th in passing yards, but why throw when you can run the football all over them? 31st in rushing yards and dead last in the NFL in points per game. Now, that's noteworthy because the Vikings haven't run the ball that effectively. Dalvin Cook's actually been pretty solid this year. He's over 1,000 yards pretty easily, but the overall ground game has been a bit lacking so far this year, but hey, you got Justin Jefferson, so I kind of get things a little bit more from that standpoint. I'd like to see a more heavy ground game approach, and not just Dalvin Cook. I'd like to see Alexander Mattison, etc., get going a little bit more to keep Dalvin Cook fresh, because you will need him come playoff time. So as things sit, 1 week to go. What's your confidence level, I should say, in the Vikings offense right now? Use the scale 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Again, abbreviated preview this week because it's the Bears. It's week 18. You're kind of locked in. Number 1 key, make sure you stay healthy. You don't want to lose a key player to injury. Now, that's how it works every week. I think just because of the timing, we get a little too locked in on that. But yes, you want to make sure guys are healthy. Don't be reckless with injuries. And you do want to get some momentum going for Minnesota. I wouldn't say the last couple weeks have been the best results for this Vikings team. You'll get blown out by Green Bay. You sneak by the Giants. You come back against the Colts. You lose against the Lions. Kind of sneak by the Jets. You're winning games. You're 12-4. You've had an awesome year. You've won the division. It's been a successful season no matter what. But now you want more. You want that playoff success. When I think if we had told people at the beginning of the year, hey, all I can promise you is you win 12 games, you go, awesome. Now you might win 13 games and you've won the division. It's been a very successful first season for Kevin O'Connell, but you want to enter the season on the playoffs on a positive note, not back-to-back losses, not backdooring your way in there. This, by the way, is the playoff picture. There's one spot open, 7 seed. The Vikings' options are the 2 seed or the 3 seed. Those are the only available fits for the Vikings. The Bucs are the 4 seed. The Eagles, Niners, or Cowboys will end up as the 1 seed. If the Vikings win and the Niners lose, at that point, the Vikings would jump up into the 2 seed. That's the only path that exists. They can no longer get the 1 seed. They cannot get to the 4 seed. The Niners, of course, play at 425. So Minnesota, barring a loss, will not know who their playoff opponent is. It will likely end up being the Giants. They are locked into the 6th seed. That's probably who you're going to play, and your advanced staff is really already working on that a little bit. Now, the other option is you get the 2 seed, and then you got to wait till Sunday Night Football to know who you're playing in the 7 seed matchup. So Minnesota could know as soon as 4 o'clock Eastern time-ish who they're playing if they lose. They could also have to wait till late night. but you're probably going to be the 3 seed, probably going to face the Giants, who you just beat in a game-winning field goal in Week 16. And that game with your injuries on the offensive line, it's going to be a tough one. But you got to take care of business first and foremost in Week 18.